हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू योर चैनल। ये वीडियो सभी आईएलटीएस कैंडिडेट्स के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज़ नाउअडेज़ हर एक आईएलटीएस स्टूडेंट का यही क्वेश्चन होता है कि जो आईएलटीएस कैंडिडेट्स एग्ज़ाम दे चुके होते हैं, स्पेशली स्पीकिंग एग्ज़ाम, तो सभी का क्वेश्चन होता है कि उन्हें एग्ज़ाम में क्यू कार्ड कौन सा पूछा गया था, उन्हें इंट्रोडक्टरी क्वेश्चंस कौन से आए थे, कौन से फॉलोअप्स और डिस्कशन क्वेश्चंस उन स्टूडेंट्स को पूछे गए थे। तो इस वीडियो में हमने कोशिश की है बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स का स्पीकिंग एग्ज़ाम का रिव्यू करने की फ्रॉम ऑल कॉर्नर्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, और हमने पूछा है कि क्या क्यू कार्ड्स थे, क्या इंट्रोडक्टरी थे और क्या फॉलोअप थे। और हमारे साथ जो स्टूडेंट्स कनेक्टेड हैं उन्होंने सभी अपना एक्सपीरियंस हमारे साथ शेयर किया, क्या क्वेश्चंस थे, क्या क्यू कार्ड्स था। और एक बात बड़ी अट्रैक्टिव थी कि जो कुछ क्यू कार्ड्स ऐसे थे जो कि अभी जो न्यू लिस्ट है उसमें नहीं थे, लेकिन वो स्टूडेंट्स को पूछे गए थे। तो वो क्यू कार्ड्स भी हमने टॉप क्यू कार्ड्स इस वीडियो में शेयर किए। ज्वाइन मक्कर आईएल्ट्स व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स, देन डिस्क्रिप्शन में हमने ग्रुप्स का लिंक दिया हुआ है, आप वहाँ और हमारे इस चैनल को प्रेस करें। हर एग्ज़ाम का रिव्यू, जो लेटेस्ट क्वेश्चंस और हॉट टॉपिक्स आते हैं हम शेयर करते हैं इस चैनल पे। फुल आईएल्ट्स कोर्स इज़ अवेलेबल ऑन दिस चैनल, और इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करने के बाद आप ऑटोमेटिकली मक्कड़ यूट्यूब चैनल्स को अपने यूट्यूब फीड में पा सकते हो। तो डोंट वेट, जस्ट सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल। लेट अस स्टार्ट द वीडियोस अबाउट टॉप क्यू कार्ड्स। Well, the first cue card was asked in British Council in London, and it is describe an interesting animal you saw ever. Next was again in British Council in London. It was describe about your favorite mode of transportation. Next was in Australia, and the introductory questions was about neighborhood and voice, and the cue card was talk about a public building that you wish to visit. Next cue card, sorry, it is having introductory questions that it was again in Australia, and the introductory questions was about hometown, and the cue card was describe a leisure activity which you can do with your family, and the follow-up questions was about music concerts, indoor and outdoor activities. Next was in India in January only, and the cue card was describe one of your family members with whom you spend the most time with. Next was again in India, and the cue card was describe a moment when you looked at sky either day or night. All sample answers are available on this channel and Makkad YouTube channel, so do subscribe. Next was again in India on 9 January, and the cue card was talk about your childhood school. Next cue card was again in India, which was on 12 January, and the cue card was talk about an important journey that was delayed. Next was again in India on 12th January, and the cue card was talk about someone who encourages you to achieve goals. Next was talk about a time when you met a challenge. Next was talk about a performance that you watched recently. Next was again in India, which was describe a person who likes to travel by plane. Next was in Iran on 14 January, and the introductory questions was about hairstyle and jeans, and the cue card was talk about a toy that you had when you were a child, and the follow-ups were about toys and games. Next cue card was describe a goal that you achieved which was set by you. Next was again in India, and it was describe a job you would not like to do in the future, that you have to talk about a job which you don't want to do in your future. Next is describe a bicycle tour that you took. Next is talk about vital information that you received via message. Next is talk about the time when you were not allowed to use mobile phone. And the next was again in India on 12th January, and the cue card was describe a successful small business that you know. You have to talk about a small business which is very successful, and you know that business, you have to talk about that business here in this cue card. Next is again on India on 12th January. It was an article on health that you read from a magazine or online. It is very important. Majority of students got this cue card. Do prepare well. Sample answer is already available. Do subscribe. Next was in India on January only, and it was describe a uniform that you wear in school or company. Again, next was on India on 12th of January, and the cue card was describe a difficult challenge that you completed. So that was all about these cue cards for ITP and British Council, which were asked in January month. This channel to get every sample answer, join WhatsApp groups to enjoy complete IELTS course. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.